up? What up? Welcome back to another episode of the Crown and Stitch podcast. Here to talk some fitted, some snapbacks, some obscure headwear with the guys. Keith, Dexter, what's good, fellas? How you guys doing?
Yo. Got the pod squad back together. Let's get it.
Muy bueno.
Ready. I'm ready for it. It's always a nice little mental vacation to chop it up with you guys about this stuff because one, it makes me feel less crazy because in my, close circle of friends, there's not too many people buying as many fitteds as I am. But when I talk to you guys, I feel justified in spending ridiculous amounts of money on, too many hats. So I appreciate you guys supporting me in that way.
We support your habit.
For sure.
So where are we at here? This is going to be episode 6. And by special request from one Jacques Slade, a.k.a. Cousteau, he requested a little conversation around cleaning hats and, a little maintenance, little maybe preventative maintenance. So we're going to get into some of that kind of stuff. But first, let's talk about what we picked up recently. Who wants to start us off?
Start us off, Dexter. Oh, yeah. How about,
Me?
Go ahead, Nick. Go ahead, Nick.
All right. I just got one for you. This is going to be familiar, too, because I know Dexter got this, too. But it came in, Hat Heaven. This is the Polo Grounds, New York Giants. That side patch is absolutely amazing.
Chef's kiss.
I almost bought that, too. I need to get that one.
Yeah,
I need that one in the collection. It's
so good, man. I mean, I think just the details on the actual logo, too.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of reminiscent of Dexter's A's logo, right? Like the little serifs on the end of things. And it's weird because, we've talked about on previous episodes, I'm a huge fan of the old Giants logo, the older Giants logo. I'd rather have the no, points kind of. Yeah, I mean, I love them all, but if we're getting picky about it, that one is one of those ones where it's pretty aggressive with the additions to the NY, I guess. But that Polo Grounds badge, I get Willie Mays nostalgia, thinking about baseball was just the focal point of American culture at that moment, right? And hard not to. I can't pass that up,
Plus, you can wear a New York hat and it's still a Giants hat.
Yes, very true. It's actually funny. So, if you guys don't know, I worked for Complex Media. I moved to New York. I worked alongside Russ Bankston at Complex doing Complex sneakers. I mean, really, Complex sneakers hadn't started at that point, but it kind of evolved into that. I actually signed up for Complex sneakers on my phone because we were we should have our own Instagram account, But when I got there, Russ is a big Mets fan, and I showed up with the New York Giants hat, with the orange and the and black. And I was I'm wearing this just to be respectful, Russ, because this is basically the roots that your team exists because my team existed here. So, but yeah, it's interesting when you look into the history of those teams too. We talked a little bit about it in the beginning of the start of the podcast, that rivalry, man, that New York rivalry transitioning out to the West Coast. I mean, I don't know if there's anything better than Giants Dodgers baseball, which, as we're recording this is actually happening too. So #beat LA if you're watching the game. But I don't know, what did you guys pick up recently?
And actually the Giants are down 2-1 right now, so you might be jinxing us. They just scored.
Damn it.
Hey, it was 2-0 earlier, so we're making progress. We're chipping away.
But
what I picked
on
up,
that Polo Grounds hat, real quick. So I wore that to the game Sunday because it was Warriors playing and the Giants. So I said, okay, I'm gonna put my old school Spreewell jersey on. And it's blue. So I'm going to put the blue New York Polo Grounds hat on. So the first guy sees me, he's like, oh, man. He's like, you're dope. Dap me up. He's like one of the guys, scanning me through the thing. And I go inside, and we were sitting there at the bar or something. and this guy who had nothing to do, he's just sitting next to us. And he's talking to my buddy. He goes, "You got to get your friend a new hat." And I was like, "Do you know what this is?" And I was like, "Polo Grounds." And he was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, bro." I was like, "It's all good. It's all good."
He had no idea. He had no idea,
Your
bro.
homework and check out Crown and Stitch, sir.
Yeah.
But my guy, go ahead, Keith.
Oh, first pickup. Actually, I have it on head right now. This came in yesterday. This is from Fan Treasures, and they did a collaboration with Pierre that does Views from the Vault. And this is a Boston landmark hat. So this is based off an oyster house out in Boston. I don't know if you guys could see the side patch. That's the
that's side
1961 All-Star Game. It's I like it because it has like the gold accents around the Boston B, and it's like a deeper red color. It's not, that typical bright or fire red or any of those other reds. So I'm a big fan of like I said before, like the burgundies, the deeper reds, and having that little gold accent around the B, kind of giving me Niner vibes right now. So I had to scoop that up. While I'm on the Boston theme, I picked up this from Toppers. Another
That
Boston
patch
hat.
is crazy.
Dude, this is my all-time favorite patch. Let's say top 5. But just like the metallic and the gold hits on the patch, and yet again with that like dark, deep red undervisor, it's more gold. Going heavy Niner Boston themes tonight.
Seriously.
I like it.
All right. Well, I mean, it is springtime right now, so I don't want to get specific dates going on, but I picked up a little Easter little situation here with the little bunny pin. This is the 60th anniversary Baltimore Orioles with the little checkered out guts,
those colors are
wild.
fire.
I don't know what I'll ever be able to wear with this, but I'll figure something out,
I love that logo too. That
Coke
logo's
Whites
dope.
or something, Hell yeah.
Yep. What are you rocking on head?
Oh, this is Aux Pack Hat Club. This was the Souls of Mischief.
Nice.
Oakland A's.
Classic.
The 30th anniversary patch.
Nice. I realized that we didn't talk about what we were wearing, so I figure I'd just put you on spot since Keith talked about it. I don't know which one I'm supposed to be turning here. Let me see. I got the Jackie Robinson new release. Nothing too crazy, but always gotta pay respects. So I feel like if there's one hat that I have to have every year, anything Jackie Robinson associated. So
also we got to mention that Keith is his first time he's not wearing just a crisp basic white T-shirt.
Yes.
Best TV show of all time, Sopranos.
Soprano?
Yeah, there's Uncivilized.
I'd have to go wire above that, but no, it's a pretty damn good show.
I can't argue with that because I've never seen The Wire. So withhold judgment, and once I watch it, I'll let you know that Sopranos is still better.
Oh man, I'm not even going to get into that, but both those shows are excellent. Both those shows are like there's a valid argument for either of those being the best show of all time. All right, so we talked a little bit about this before we started. Cleaning hats. Let me just start out by saying I start like my hat game and my hat cleaning career started way back in the day with those stupid plastic things that you just snap in the hat and throw it in the dishwasher. I ruined many hats doing that, thinking that it was going to be a way to clean my hats. Probably ruined a lot of my mom's
Not
dishes,
the washing
to be honest.
machine?
No, dishwasher.
Oh,
Top rack dishwasher. Yep.
Yeah, I could see that ruining a hat for sure.
Well, so the washing machine. So I'm talking like the old school plastic snap together thing, right? Like it's like it's not strong at all, and I don't even know that it would last. Like it would probably just unclip in the washing machine. So like the instructions on the one that I bought was dishwasher. So it's top rack only, so it doesn't get too crazy. But it just didn't hold the shape of the hat. Anytime you get a hat wet, it starts to shrink. So then I was like stretching them back to fit, all that kind of stuff. But out of that, my kind of go-to default is, and this is old school as it gets, but like just some like Dawn dish soap and a toothbrush, and that's it. I don't get too crazy with it. I have used some other stuff recently, and I'll get into that in a little bit, but that's kind of the basics of hat cleaning, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it. But now we got all sorts of other things out there, right? So like there's all sorts of different things that you can do to kind of keep things from even getting to the point where you need to be cleaning them. But what are you guys like? Any products that you use, cleaners that you use? Keith mentioned the protectant from Hat Club. I haven't used that, but I definitely use a similar product on a lot of my sneakers, so I probably should use it on my hats. What are you guys thinking about cleaning stuff?
I mean, the first rule of thumb for me and the first advice I can give you guys is if you buy enough hats, Dexter had mentioned this too, you could rotate through all the hats and each individual one is not going to get as dirty, So step one, buy more hats. Like Nick was saying, I bought like the cleaning kit from Hat Club, and I'm kind of scared to clean my hats. Like I'm always worried if I'm going to get them too wet. Like, especially some of them are 100% wool. You know what I mean? Nowadays, it's not quite as much, but you don't want to be getting the wool wet. But the cleaner and deodorizer, that's what comes in the pack from Hat Club. This is the one I use on all my hats. This is the spray protectant. It's similar to like what you use for your sneakers. Just spray it on, let it dry. Kind of beads up, kind of makes it waterproof and stuff. So if anything crazy spills on, hopefully it'll glide right off. And then also with the cleaner and deodorizer, it comes with a little brush. And if possible, if it's not getting too dirty or nothing, no stains are getting set in, if you could use the brush and kind of just knock stuff off of it without having to get your hat too wet. That's my number one thing, because I'm scared to like saturate the hat or even like spraying one spot and scrubbing on one little area. It kind of freaks me out. So I try to go light if possible, and don't get too crazy. You don't want to be breaking threads and everything, scrubbing your hat like crazy. So I try to be careful with them first of all, and just a nice little scrub. Don't get it too saturated, and if you have the protectant, then you don't have to worry quite as much, because some of the lighter, if it's raining, drops of water feed right off, and you should be good.
For sure. So my old school way of cleaning hats, well, like when I've talked about this too many times on this podcast, when fitted hats first came out, you could really only get like a team or two. And me and my buddy Jew, we both had like either a blue or a red Yankee, or maybe he had a blue, I had a red, I don't know. But we're wearing these like every day. And as Keith said, buy more hats. But we're kids. The hat probably cost $25 back then. Like, we're not going to get any more. It's it, right? We don't have a job. So this one's like 7th, 8th grade or something like that. So they're getting filthy. And on our way home, we used to walk right past this dry cleaner. So I go in there one day. I say, hey, you guys have a way of cleaning this hat without like messing it up? They go, yeah. I'm like, okay, it'd be like $5. We're like, all right, cool. So we drop our hats off and we come back like a few days later and they were like clean, but they were like shrunken and like wrinkled up here. And we were like, oh man, like that's, I don't know what they did, but they didn't maintain the integrity of the hat, right? So that was it for me giving my hat to another random dry cleaning situation. So when I first really got back into like buying online hats, they weren't selling out like crazy like they are now. So I wasn't tripping off a hat getting a little dirty. It's like, all right, fine. I'll buy another one. Cool, whatever. But now since, the hats have gone up in price and these things are like, collector's items now, damn near. Just like Keith said, I went to this place on Haight Street. It was a hat store called Bespoke. So 100% unicorn hair.
Wow.
Made in Israel.
Fancy
No
shit.
joke. No damn joke. Now, it's just a really soft, like super soft brush. It likes to remind me of stuff my dad used to like buff and clean his like dress shoes with and stuff like. But just super soft brush, every once in a while if you see a little something on here, you just knock it off. Hat's perfectly fine. You're not messing the threading up or anything, But I do have some hats that are like kind of beat up and the sweatband on the inside is it's getting a little icky, so I think I might be copping something specific to clean the hats with. Or maybe I'll just try the Dove soap, I don't know. Or Dawn soap.
You know what's funny? You mentioned that too, because I saw like a couple weeks back on Instagram. There's a hat company called House of Fitted, and they have like disposable sweatbands. They have like one side is sticky. You stick it up into the sweatband of your hat right there, and it's white. But basically, you're not getting the actual sweatband of your hat dirty. You can wear it. I don't know how many wears it lasts for, but I actually just purchased some right before the podcast. But stick them in. Don't have to worry about the sweatband getting too dirty, and rip it off, throw another one in. I think they said it coming in like packs of 20. So, I mean, it was fairly inexpensive. It was $20, so basically $1 per disposable sweatband. So I'm gonna give those a shot and see if that helps, because you ever get to doing anything crazy or some unexpected strenuous activity and you sweat a little bit in your hat, you don't want to be burning through the sweatbands.
Our resident guinea pig. Thank you, sir.
You got it. I will report back soon.
Yeah, I mean, I think that sounds like a great idea. If it, I mean, we're not there yet, but I could see that being, like a Nike, like a removable or some sort of innovative way to like change out that sweatband. Seems like something like a company like Nike would do if they were making a bunch of hats. On, I mean, I know they make hats, but they're not really focused on it. But excuse me, it does kind of make me wonder, like how it would change the fit of the hat, adding stuff in there, because I definitely. I definitely sweat a lot, especially like if I'm playing, running with the dog or playing baseball, softball, any of those things. And I used to throw a bandana around the top of my head underneath my hat as a kid, as a teenager. But as I got older and my head grew, I just don't do that anymore. But that's the one fear that I would have. It's kind of like, it reminds me of like the force field sneaker things, right? Like, I mean, I don't care enough about not having creases in my shoes, but like, to me, putting anything in there that makes it fit more snug kind of kills the point, because you're probably buying a shoe or a hat in your size, and if it changes that's definitely going to be a no-go for me. Yeah. But I'm definitely curious how it turns out. I mean, for $20, I think it's definitely worth giving it a shot. I would definitely give it a shot too. Yeah.
I mean, like, I probably won't put it on any of my hats that fit a little snugger. I'll probably grab one of the ones I bought a size up just because that was all that was left and I couldn't get my size. So I'll throw it in one of those first and test it out. The problem for you is, I mean, you don't have no room to size up, Nick. So I don't know, like,
It's not true. They're selling eight and a halves now.
That's true. I'm really hoping it doesn't make it fit too much different, though. Hopefully it's at least pretty thin. I could imagine they probably make something thin enough to where it's not going to severely alter the sizing, but we will find out.
Yeah. I mean, to Dexter's point about like the dry cleaning experience. So that's essentially like the way that old hat rack thing that was supposed to help. It was supposed to help it keep shape, but it just didn't, right? It wasn't really fit to, it was just a generic, like, size. So it didn't fit every hat perfectly, and it didn't have enough structure. It wasn't strong enough anyway. But one of the things that I do kind of mentioned like stretching the hats back out. If you get like in terms of like helping with the like deodorizer type thing, because you mentioned like that spray that you have is kind of like scented or whatever. I think Keith, like the Hat Club stuff, right? It has like
it doesn't have too much of a smell, but it smells vaguely of a cleaner. It's not like, it doesn't smell like water, but it's not like any super strong like fragrant spray either.
Yeah, so like I use like the hat stretcher. I wish I had it with me, but like it's like two sides and it's got a twist in the middle, right? And it's like just big old chunks of cedar, and like it just soaks up a lot of that like odor from anything, right? Like, but it definitely when you first get that and start to store your hats with it, because like I only have one of them. I might have two. I think, yeah. But like I only store like one hat at a time where I'm stretching it, right? Because like I just have some hats that I've sweated in and they're smaller, or tried to wash them back in the day and they're smaller, and like so I kind of been going through and like re-stretching the hats to get to a point that hopefully they all fit. Even though some of them are so like just old school, I'm just not gonna wear them. It's more just like a nostalgia thing to keep them. But that's another way for me to like, I think kind of at least like after the wear and tear has already been in, is one of the things that I think is like a good way to just like default, like throw something in like that soaks up some of that. And I know that like the other thing that I'd seen, I don't know if people do this with hats, but like a lot of people use coffee beans, like old coffee beans. Like you can get like, stuff that you didn't roast or that you didn't brew or whatever, or some of the coffee shops will like give away old stuff, and that's another like just strictly odor type of thing. You can set them underneath the hat. That odor is going to soak into the beans, and it's going to kind of like take some of that away. It's not like a 100% successful every time, but as far as like I'm thinking of like even when I'm exercising and doing stuff, like I'm usually wearing a hat, so for me, all those different variations are kind of ways to help that. In terms of, I was mentioning before we started recording, the other cleaner that I've used on hats. Well, I guess two things. One, agreed on the brushes, like a soft brush. Especially if you're talking fitteds and wool hats, soft brush is no brainer. You have to have that. I would say like, it's the first thing you buy as an accessory. I know a lot of people will not like this, but I still love the Mr. Clean Magic Erasers, man. Like, oh yeah, those things will work miracles. I know that the way that it does it is not the best for the actual material, but it is the easiest, quickest way to get like actual spots off of anything that you have, whether that's a hat, especially the bill. Like you can, like for me, like I'll especially like if I'm working on the car or something, I'll touch something and get fingerprints or something underneath. Magic eraser is a really good way to like get that out, depending on how deep it is, obviously. But the other cleaner that I actually use is Sneaker Lab, which is like a bacteria based cleaner. So it's a little bit different than your standard cleaners in a sense that like it the best way to put it is like it has to penetrate. So like it has to like soak in and get in to release all the dirt and stuff in a way that like, the typical shoe cleaner, hat cleaner type of stuff just doesn't really, it's not the same. Right. But I also, I am very cautious, especially with wool hats, because once they lose that size, it's tough to keep them anywhere close to the right size. And if you get anything too wet, it just becomes problematic. It starts losing its shape, and that's kind of just a no-go for us, my opinion.
I had a question, Nick. When you mentioned the hat stretcher, I've seen a lot of people use steamers while they're stretching it. They'll put the hat stretcher in, start, twisting it to expand it. And then they'll take like a handheld steamer and they'll steam the hat while they're stretching it. Have you tried that at all?
Yeah. So I've actually, I haven't. I've used a steamer for sure in that sense. That's like a great way to like loosen it up a little bit because like depending on the hat, right? You might want like I have some older hats that are maybe a 5/8 or 3/4 or something where like I don't know what I was thinking. I just needed the hat and then I stretched it out. But as soon as I start to wear that and it's not being stretched out, it goes back down. But you want it to be a little bit wet to like a little moist to like kind of expand, right? But I will say too, like in a similar sense, sometimes when you need to get like stains out, like this doesn't really work on the sweatbands for me because it's just really hard to get in there and get that out. Like you almost have to have it be soaked in there to get any of those stains out. But if you have like little marks on like, let's say I don't know, brush up against something and it leaves a mark on your hat. A lot of times you can use a steamer to actually like in combination with one of those soft brushes to kind of like get it, like if it's beyond like just brushing off with a brush and you want to get it like you want some moisture to it to get the soap in to penetrate, right? Whatever cleaner you're using. But like we're talking about, we don't want them to, you don't want to just like throw it in the washing machine and have it completely soaked because that's where it's going to lose its shape and structure and everything you love about it, basically. So like for me, that the steamer thing has been an interesting thing to try with like just random little things. Like an example of this is like this room that I'm in, I painted white, right? When we moved in, it was like this awful, like kind of off yellowish color and off khaki, whatever. And we're like, let's just paint the rooms, right? Of course, like I'm wearing a hat, this one like Giants hat, California flag within the SF logo or whatever. But I got paint specs on it, right? Like I'm using like the spray gun and stuff, and inevitably you get a little stuff on there. I was trying a bunch of different things. I actually haven't gotten some of the parts out, but using the steamer with it's basically like the nail polish remover, right? It actually worked pretty well. I thought it was going to discolor the hat, and obviously I would say test this in a before you go dumping it on a hat. But for me, it actually worked fine. It didn't seem to damage the wool. The hat still is kind of messed up because there's bigger paint drips or whatever on it, and I'm not trying to like pretend like I'm a graffiti artist or something. So no point in
now you got a paint hat though.
Yeah. But yeah, if you need some paint, I got a hat. But yeah, I mean those are kind of like the basics for hat cleaning and maintenance for me. I mean, the other thing, like I think if you really want to like expand on that, like Jacques just released like a sneaker wipe that smells like dryer lint. That smells like dryer sheets, right? Like fabric softener. And like, with sneakers, I used to stuff my shoes with fabric softener all the time to try to get that smell out as a kid. I've done that with hats too, where like, you could just take a hat, like flip the inner, sweatband down a little bit, drop the whole liner in and leave it in right around the front. And it'll definitely help. It doesn't clean that, but it definitely helps with the odor. If it's something you're like, hitting the gym in, working out in, doing whatever in. So, but yeah, I don't know. You guys got anything else before we get into this little kicks and fits section?
I can think of it. Yep.
All right. Who wants to start the kicks and fits segment?
Take this one.
I started the first one, so one of you guys got to do it.
All right, I'll start. All right. What am I doing here? All right. So this is also a new pickup. Uh-oh. Hats are falling everywhere. Seattle Pilots. I know I did another Seattle Pilots, but I think this is what their primary colors were.
That's nice.
Yellow, blue, and red. Take it with the Prince Hakeems,
Nice. Yes.
Coming to America.
That's great, man.
That's a perfect match right there.
That's good.
I like the stitching on that hat too. That the stitching looks really clean on that one.
Dude, these blazers, look at the stitching on this thing.
Yeah, those are wild.
Raised. That swoosh is thick, dog.
Damn. Those are dope.
Yeah.
Yep. That's one of my favorite pairs, man. I wish I had that one.
All right, I guess I'll go next. This is from My Fittage. This was a YMCA hook. Basically, I think it's like off one of the Village People album covers. It has like a off brown like under visor, and then I like how it has that royal blue surrounding the Yankees logo. But
that blue is like it's making eyes.
It's super hidden.
I saw them. Damn.
Nice.
And then with the Hyper Royals. And the thing I like about wearing these two together is like there's little hits of that royal blue like on the tongue tag, and the stitching actually like all over the shoe is that same like royal blue color that surrounded the Yankees logo. So it's like I didn't know the hat looked like that before I bought it. Like I couldn't see all like the little, royal blue stitching on it. But once I got it in, and it kind of sparked my thought like, hey, I could wear those with the Hyper Royals, and it ended up being a pretty nice match there.
Yeah, man, that's a good one. I mean, I can't condone wearing a Yankees hat, but that's a pretty solid look.
New York Giants.
Yeah. All right, so I let's see. I'm gonna go with a shoe that's a little bit more obscure, but first off, Giants, you saw this on a previous episode, Sacramento Kings, you saw this on a previous episode. Just the new logo, Sacramento Proud. But this is the Hez Kicks. What is it? The Saucony Grid 9000. That was done. They did like a series with a bunch of YouTubers, sneaker YouTubers. So shout out to Hez Kicks. He's a DJ, so he's got the little. I don't know if you can see this. I don't know if you can see this little.
Oh yeah,
there we go.
Like some vinyl going on. Like the thing that it spins.
Little pin,
yeah. Oh, that's
so these are pretty great materials. Got Hez Kicks there on the other side.
Yeah, that's nice.
And I could have picked many Sacramento Kings hats to go with that, but I figured this one was this is the one I've been looking forward to wearing. So that might actually be on my feet and on my head within the next 24 hours. So
do it.
When you pulled that out, I was like, okay, how do y'all pronounce? Because I always said Saucony, but you said Saucony. Is there a proper pronunciation?
So it's Saucony. They actually did like an old ad that was like the quotes of that kind of thing.
Okay, I got to get that locked in.
Until I saw that, I did the same thing. So
that's why I just never say it, because I'm scared to mess it up. So
all right, Saucony. Scratchy, Saucony. All right, so are we pulling out some obscure?
I don't have anything obscure, but you should close it out with something obscure for the viewers.
Let's see it.
All right, I got a couple. I think I'm gonna save you for later on, buddy. So back in the day, I don't know what the original company, or if there was an original company, but in the 80s there was this thing where corduroy was like all the rage, right? But they used to have these specific hats with the fish on it, right? Tell me, remember this?
Nice.
You remember these, right?
Yep.
So I got this at like I don't know, what's the Urban Outfitters or something like that. And it's just a gray hat. It's got more fish on the inside, snapback, and it's corduroy, which I love corduroy. It's got the little fish on there. Bada boom, that's it. Easy peasy.
And you got the stringer going around between the brim and the crown right there.
That's right. See, it's some real shit right here.
Yep.
Just throwing it all the way back.
Bundy probably had a couple of these.
Oh yeah, definitely. All right, well, that wraps up another episode of the Crown and Stitch podcast, YouTube, show, wherever you're watching this, listening. Guys, let's let them know how they can find us outside of the show.
You can find me at Keith the Sneak with 2 Ks on IG. You could also just follow the Crown Stitch IG page. That's I think that's the best way.
Well, you can also find me, Crown and Stitch, smooth as eggs, right there on everything. Also, the Industry Special podcast, which I've been neglecting because of this podcast, but I will be back. I got some plans. I got something set up. So, cheers.
Nice. You can follow at Nick Ingvall to find me. More importantly, like they said, at Crown and Stitch on all the platforms. Thanks for rocking with us. Let us know what you're rocking. What fit is you're rocking? What's your latest pickup on any of the social channels, and we'll holler back at you and we'll have some conversation around these things. Catch you next time. Peace.
Peace.